What's up, everybody? Welcome to my top 100 favorite movies of all time list, part 3. Yes, so in this one, I'll be going from 50 to 26. So yeah, and we after this one we got one more. So yeah, all right, 50 to 26. Let's waste no time and let's get started. All right, coming in at coming at number 50, we have a horror movie that came out in the last decade, and probably my favorite horror movie of the last decade. That is Midsommar. Yeah, a very divisive movie for sure. There's a lot of people that love it and a lot of people that hate it. I'm obviously one of the ones that loves it. Now, I will be honest. As I'm recording this I've only seen this movie once, but yeah. The right now I love it though, and maybe next year if I do an updated version of this list, maybe it'll be lower on the list, or it might not even be on the list at all. But right now it's on the list. I think this movie is just batshit insane, but I love it. I love it so much. It's sorry, excuse me. It is my favorite Ari Aster film. I do like Hereditary. Hereditary is very good, but this one I I just prefer this one over Hereditary for some reason. It's just weirder. It's a lot weirder, and that's why I love it even more. I still haven't seen Beau is Afraid, but I really want to see that movie. And also, I should mention, of course, Florence Pugh is fucking amazing in this movie. And well, actually, I did already kind of have a crush on her whenever I saw this, but I have an even bigger crush on her after seeing this movie. Like, she's amazing, and yeah. But yeah, Midsommar, awesome movie, fucked up movie, but still awesome. That is my number 50. All right, coming at number 49, we have a movie that I have reviewed on the channel, and that is Ghost World. A very underrated coming of age movie, and it does have a following. It does have it has a fan base and whatnot, but I still find it a little bit underrated. Not a whole lot of people talks about it, but I love it. It's so good. It's really funny. I absolutely love Thora Birch in this movie as Enid. She is amazing. And I also love Steve Buscemi as well. Them two have really good chemistry together. Whenever I first saw this movie, and I even said it in my review, but I didn't love Scarlett Johansson all that much in this movie, but when I first saw it, but that has changed over the years, over rewatches. She's actually pretty good. She's not as good as Thora Birch and Steve Buscemi, but she's still pretty good. Like, I don't know, her performance has grown on me, and it actually works with the character. So yeah. But great movie. If you love coming of age movies, I highly recommend Ghost World. It's fantastic. That is number 49. Okay, coming at number 48, we have a romantic comedy that came out in the last decade, and that is Crazy Stupid Love. This is a movie that, like, every time I watch it, I just love it more and more. It's it's fantastic. It has a great cast. You got Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei, Kevin Bacon, and even a young Joey King as well. But yeah, and John Carroll Lynch also. But it's such a good movie, and it's really funny. Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling are hilarious together. They have great chemistry, and Steve Carell and Julianne Moore have good chemistry. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have good chemistry. I even like the young kid, or the 12-year-old, 13-year-old, however, Robbie, I think is his name. Some people have issues with, like, Robbie and him having a crush on his babysitter and stuff, the whole thing with that, but some people have problems with that. They say it didn't age well and whatnot, but I yeah, I can put I can look ahead of that. It's not that, he's just a young horny teenager, so yeah. But no, I like Robbie too. He's pretty great. He's funny. And the whole thing with his babysitter is really funny. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's really funny. There's a really good twist in the movie as well that, like, every time I watch that scene, I'm just like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, every time I watch it, it just blows me away every time, even though I know it's coming. But yeah, Crazy Stupid Love, that is 48. Okay, coming at number 47, this might be an oddball choice, but this is nostalgia for me. This was one of my favorite kids' movies growing up, and it is my favorite DreamWorks movie, and that is Over the Hedge. Yeah, I know. But I just recently watched it again not that long ago, and I just love it. It's just so funny. Another Steve Carell movie. I just realized he plays, of course, Hammy the squirrel, but he also got Bruce Willis and Gary Shandling and William Shatner and Avril Lavigne, even Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. Wanda Sykes. He also got Thomas Hayden Church as the Verminator. Maybe the best character in the movie, honestly. But I love Over the Hedge. It's very underrated DreamWorks movie. It's really funny. Um, yeah, I personally love Over the Hedge, and yeah, it made it on the list in my top 100, and it's number 47. Yeah. All right, coming in number 46. Speaking of underrated movies, we have another one, but this is an underrated Quentin Tarantino film, and that is Death Proof. Yeah, a lot of people say that this is even Tarantino himself has said that this is his worst film, and maybe it is, but I still love it. It's honestly my third favorite Tarantino film. I just love it. It's just so awesome. Kurt Russell as Stuntman Mike. I mean, come on. And the ending is amazing. My favorite Tarantino ending, if I'm going to be honest. It also has four celebrity crushes of mine. We got Rosario Dawson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, what's her name, Rose McGowan, and also Z- Zoe Bell. Zoe Bell, yeah. But awesome movie. It's so cool. It's pretty funny too. Yeah, Death Proof. That is my number 6. Okay, coming at number 45, we have another Kevin Smith movie, and it's my second favorite Kevin Smith movie, and that is Chasing Amy. Now this one, I don't know, it's kind of divisive, at least nowadays, because there are people out there that find this movie problematic, and I kind of get it. I mean, this movie didn't age all that well. There's some stuff in this movie that is kind of questionable and whatnot, and of course the movie itself is not realistic at all because it's about a lesbian who falls in love with a guy. So yeah, it's not realistic, but I could put aside that kind of stuff, and I still love it. I still think it's a great romantic comedy. Ben Affleck is this is honestly his best performance. And I'm not even a huge Ben Affleck fan. I don't really think he's all that great of an actor. I love him in the Kevin Smith movies, though. He's great in those movies. And I even like him in Dazed and Confused. But this is, in my opinion, his best performance, and he has great chemistry with Joey Lauren Adams as Alyssa Jones, who is also great in the movie. And of course, he also has great chemistry with Jason Lee as Banky, and he's really funny in the movie. He is offensive, yes, because he's homophobic, who turns out to be gay. But yeah, it's still a great film, and also Jay and Silent Bob is in one scene, and it's a great scene, and probably even Kevin Smith's best performance as an actor. honestly. Like he nailed it in that scene. But yeah, really good, really funny, even dramatic. It's definitely Kevin Smith's most dramatic movie. Yeah. Um, Chasing Amy, that is number 45. Okay, coming in at number 44 now. I don't own this one. Uh, this time we have a documentary on the list. I know. Never thought I would have a documentary on my top 100 favorite movies list, but I do. And my number 44 is The Devil and Daniel Johnston. And yeah, and as you could tell if you know who Daniel Johnston is, it is a documentary about my favorite singer songwriter, Daniel Johnston. This was released in 2005, and it came out before he died. He died in 2019, sadly, but yeah, this documentary is definitely my favorite documentary, and definitely, in my opinion, the best music documentary of all time. And like, I didn't really even know who Daniel Johnston was when I first watched this movie, and this movie taught me who he was, and it made me fall in love with his music. And yeah, like I said, he's my favorite singer songwriter. And just in case you don't know who he is, he was a singer songwriter who started out in the '80s as a teenager, and he made like his own albums just from cassettes. And his music was very interesting. It was kind of like folk kind of music in some parts. A lot of piano, though, and sometimes acoustic guitar. And he wasn't the best singer, but he was a fantastic songwriter, though. He was a really good songwriter. I don't mind his voice, though. I actually kind of like his voice. But he also struggled with, like, mental illness. He had a really bad case of schizophrenia. Like, it was really bad, like in the late 80s and early 90s. And this documentary shows it too, like how bad it got and stuff. And he was like so paranoid. He was like afraid of the devil. That's why this movie's called The Devil and Daniel Johnston. And yeah, it's kind of a sad documentary to watch, but it's still great though. I love it, and Daniel Johnston is one of my musical heroes of all time. I'm slowly trying to start my own like music career myself, and he is definitely one of my biggest influences for sure. But yeah, I love Daniel Johnston, and I love this documentary, The Devil and Daniel Johnston, and that is my number 44. Yeah. All right, coming in at number 43. Now, even though this movie's high up on the list, for some reason, haven't rewatched this for some reason since I reviewed it. I am actually wanting to do a Your Cousins Are Critics episode with Cade for this movie. We just haven't done it yet. Maybe we will soon, hopefully. But my number 43 is Leon the Professional. Yeah, I have seen like movie reactions on YouTube of this movie, but all the way through the entire film itself, I've only seen it once. But yeah, I don't even know why, because I love this movie. But yeah, this movie's great. I mean, Gene Reno himself as Leon is fantastic, but you also, of course, have Gary Oldman as the villain, who is one of the most terrifying villains put in cinema. And you also, of course, have a 12-year-old Natalie Portman in this movie. I believe this was her first movie, and she nailed it. She was fantastic as Matilda. Now, there are some people that don't like this movie because they don't like what they do with Matilda's character. Well, I would say particularly Matilda's character, but even kind of Leon too. But I don't want to really get into that, mostly because I don't want to get into spoilers. But it's really not what you think. Some people might call this like a pedophile movie, and it's not. If you watch the movie, you should know it is not actually a pedophile movie. I'll explain more about that stuff whenever I do my Your Cousins Are Critics episode. But Sure, there are some uncomfortable moments, but I'll just go on. All right, I will say this: those uncomfortable moments come from the character of Matilda, not from Leon. If it was from Leon, then that would be a different story, but it's not. So that's what I'll say about that. And it really it doesn't bother me too much because I kind of get where Matilda's coming from. I mean, it is weird, yes, but you know, I could put aside I could put aside that stuff and just look at it as a masterpiece. And yeah, it is. It's a really awesome movie. Really great movie. It has some good drama in it, and even a little bit of good comedy as well. There's some good comedy, and fantastic action and thriller moments as well. But yeah, Leon the Professional. That's my number 43. Okay, coming in number 42, we have I think my second favorite Martin Scorsese film, and I think this is his most underrated. Not a lot of people talk about this one unless they're talking about Scorsese's films. Then it could get a mention, but I still find it to be just as an underrated, just as a film in general. I find it to be very underrated. That is After Hours. Yeah, this is a really weird but also pretty funny Martin Scorsese movie from the mid 80s. I think 85, I believe. Yeah, 1985. It's bizarre. It's very weird. It's pretty out there, but it's great and it's funny too. This movie is really funny. Like honestly, I find this movie funnier than King of Comedy, and that has the word comedy in the title. But no, I think this movie's even funnier than that one. And I'm not too familiar with the lead actor, Griffin Dunn. Like I never seen him in anything else other than this movie, but he's great in this movie. And Rosanna Arquette's also in this. She's great, and Terry Garr and Linda Fiorentino is also in the movie. And yeah, and also fucking Cheech and Chong are even in this movie. I'm not joking. Cheech and fucking Chong is in this movie, and it's so weird to see them in a Martin Scorsese movie. But I am a Cheech and Chong fan, so it's also pretty awesome. But yeah, it's a really weird movie, but I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic. It's great. It's funny. Yeah. After Hours, that is number 42. Okay, coming at number 41, we have my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film, and this is a lot of people's Paul Thomas Anderson film, but it's personally my favorite. That is There Will Be Blood. I mean, Daniel Day Lewis. Need I say more? As Daniel Plainview. I mean, I will say a little bit more, but he is definitely the show stealer. Yeah, I mean, he's the main protagonist, but he's definitely the show stealer. Paul Dano's in the movie too. He's great as well. Second best performance, but but also this movie has really awesome cinematography, and music by Radiohead guitarist Johnny Greenwood of all people. But his score is so good in the movie. And it has a great opening too. Like there's no dialogue really in like the first 10 minutes or so in the film. Kind of reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey, where that has like no dialogue in the first 20 minutes. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. And also the ending. The ending is one of my all-time favorite endings of all time. I mean, of course, it has the "I drink your milkshake" line, but even beside that, it's still a great ending. It's pretty crazy. It's kind of funny too, and it like when I first saw it, like my face was like like I couldn't believe it. But but yeah, fantastic movie though. It's really cool. It is a little slow. Some dialogue moments aren't like fully entertaining, but I still love the movie. I still think it's a masterpiece, and I honestly think it should have won Best Picture instead of No Country for Old Men. I'm sorry, but I'm on team There Will Be Blood any day of the week. Yeah. But yeah, There Will Be Blood. I love it, and that is my number 41. Okay, coming in at number 40, we have a classic 90s movie, early 90s movie, I should say, and that is Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood is a really good, I guess you can call this a coming of age movie. Yeah, it is. And a very good dramatic film. Cuba Gooding Jr. is fantastic as the lead character. Trey, is that his name? Yeah, Trey. Even Ice Cube is great. This was his first time acting in a movie, and he is fantastic as Doughboy. He's pretty funny at times, and a good character. And also, what's his name? Morris Chestnut as Ricky, really good. Angela Bassett's even in this movie, and she's great. And my personal favorite performance is actually Lawrence Fishburne as Farius, what's his name? Trey's dad, but he's great. I love Lawrence Fishburne in this movie. But yeah, I really like the first 20 minutes or so whenever it has Trey as a kid, and then the rest of the movie is him as a teenager. But you know, Cuba Gooding Jr. plays him. But that first 20 minutes is really good. You know, the rest of the movie's great too, obviously. But yeah, really good movie. It's very dramatic. There are some funny moments, but it's mostly dramatic and pretty sad, especially you know in the third act. But yeah, it's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. Everyone should see Boys in the Hood. It's fantastic. That is my number 40. Yeah, Boys in the Hood. All right, coming in at number 39, we have a Richard Linklater movie, my third favorite, and I reviewed this. Actually, I reviewed it twice on the channel. It was my second ever review actually on the channel, and then I did review it again in a Your Cousins Are Critics episode. But yeah, my number 39 is Slacker. Slacker was the movie that made Kevin Smith want to make Clerks. This was the movie that do that. The main movie to do that at least. But yeah, and yeah, if it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have Kevin Smith in general, really. But yeah, Slacker is fantastic. It's I know I say that word a lot in this video, sorry, but it is. It's just a really cool idea for a movie, just following all these different characters. It doesn't follow one character, it follows a lot of different characters. It moves on to like a different character like every 3 minutes or so, and it's done very well. It's done very well. Just a really good independent film. And also, I want to say rest in peace to Teresa Taylor, who played that character. She passed away, I think, this year. But yeah, rest in peace to her. And she's really good in the movie. She's really funny. She's only in one scene, obviously, but still. But yeah, Slacker, awesome movie, and that is my number 39. Yeah. Okay. Coming in at number 38, we have another dramatic movie, and that is American History X. I'll go ahead and say my favorite Edward Norton performance. Yeah, I know his character, like, I mean, he's not likable most of the time in the movie, but then later on he kind of is, but you know, he made a mistake, and that's what this movie shows. If you've seen the movie, then you should know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Edward Norton is fantastic, as well as Edward Furlong too, who plays his brother. I know Derek was Yeah, Edward Norton and Danny. Danny was the name of Edward Furlong's character, but they're both great. They have great chemistry together, um, and yeah, it's a very serious movie. There's little to none. There's like very little funny moments in the film, but it's mostly dramatic, and that ending still crushes me to this day every time I watch it. But yeah, American History X, a fantastic movie. Everyone needs to see it. And that is my number 38. All right. So coming in at number 37. Now let's lighten the mood a little bit, shall we? Now we got a comedy at number 37, and that is What About Bob? This movie is fucking hilarious. Bill Murray. This not my favorite Bill Murray movie. We'll actually get to that later in this video, but it's my favorite Bill Murray non Wes Anderson comedy, and yeah, I love him in this movie as Bob, and I also love Richard Dreyfuss as well as the doctor. I forgot his Leo Marvin. Yeah, Dr. Leo Marvin. Yeah, I love Bill Murray, but honestly, I like Richard Dreyfuss even better, just because he gives the better performance, and you kind of understand where you kind of feel for him, because I mean, everybody loves Bob, including his family, but Bob is just driving him insane, and by the end of the film, he does go insane. Maybe that's spoilers. I apologize, but it's a great film. This was directed by Frank Oz, actually, and in my opinion, his best movie. And yeah, I love What About Bob. It's so good, so funny. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Yeah, 37 is What About Bob. Alright, sorry if you hear my cat in the background, but yeah, she's meowing a bunch. But okay, number 36, we have a Best Picture winner, and that is Birdman. Yeah, Birdman is an amazing film. Michael Keaton, his best performance in my opinion. You also got Edward Norton again, as well as Zach Galifianakis, Emma Stone, and Naomi Watts. Yeah, Emma Stone's great in the movie too. I love her. I love Edward Norton as well, and Zach Galifianakis is even really good in this movie. Of course, he's known for comedy, but this movie kind of is a comedy, actually. A different kind of comedy, but still. And of course, I gotta mention the one-shot camera that's in this movie. It's only almost in one take, this whole film. And, but yeah, it's fantastic though, and it's a great movie. Yeah, I love it. Birdman, that is my number 36. Okay, now coming in number 35. I don't own this one, unfortunately, because it's pretty hard to find. But my number 35 is my second favorite Richard Linklater film, and that is Suburbia. Very underrated film, and it's not the 80s Suburbia. No, this is the 90s Suburbia, directed by Richard Linklater. And yeah, this movie, you might have never heard of it, but it's great. I love this movie. Every time I watch it, I just love it more and more. I mean, it's a simple idea. There's not really a plot at all. It's kind of even similar to The Clerks, which I will say is not as good as Clerks. And yes, I do have Clerks on the list, but that'll even be in the next part. So, yeah. But spoilers. But a little similar to Clerks, except they're not working at a convenience store. They're just hanging out at a convenience store. But yeah, it's mostly a comedy, but it does get a little bit serious in the third act, especially at the ending. And really, I gotta say, the ending, while I won't say what happens, but the ending is kind of what makes the movie really good, if I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it's not really it's not a happy ending, but it's if you've seen the movie, maybe you know what I'm talking about. But I remember when I first watched it, like throughout the film, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. This is all right. But then when that ending happened, like it just caught me off guard, and I was like, holy shit. And then by the end of it, I was like, okay, that was actually amazing. And yeah, but yeah, I love Suburbia. You also got, I forgot to mention some of the cast, but you got Giovanni Ribisi and Steve Zahn and Parker Posey, and some other actors I never really heard of. Nicky Katt is one of them, but I pretty much just know him from this movie. I think he was in Dazed and Confused also, but yeah. But I really like these characters, and it's just a really cool like just hangout movie, and just honestly even better in Dazed and Confused in my opinion, and I just love the dialogue in it. It's really good. I love Suburbia. I highly recommend it. If you can find it anywhere, please watch it. I believe it's on YouTube for free, so you can watch it there. But yeah, Suburbia, 1996, I should say. That is my number 35. All right, coming in at number 34, we have another coming of age movie, directed by Rob Reiner. You probably know what I'm talking about now, and I should say originally written by Stephen King. That is Stand By Me. Like this movie has some of the best child performances I have ever seen. You got Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, sorry, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell. All great. I love those characters so much. And Kiefer Sutherland is also in the movie. He's good, even though he plays a piece of shit character. But usually, it kind of seems like he does. He always does, anyways. But yeah. But just a really good movie. I think honestly, it's the performances that makes this movie good, at least in my opinion. Like yeah, all four of the main characters, all four of those actors do a fantastic job. Some of the best child acting as I ever seen, as I said before, and yeah, it's a great movie. I love Stand By Me, and that is my number 34. All right, coming at number 33, we have my second favorite Coen Brothers movie. We'll get to my first in the next part, but yeah. I did a Your Cousins. Me and Kate did a Your Cousins Are Critics episode on this one. That is Raising Arizona. I will say this might be the Coen Brothers' funniest movie. But yeah, it is hilarious. It's really ridiculous. It really is, but it's great. Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter, both great in the movie. It's pretty much just a live action cartoon, and it's just done very well. I love the character of what's his name, Leonard Smalls, I think is his name. He's fantastic. I forgot to mention John Goodman and whoever played his brother. I don't know, but they're great. And this movie has the best chase scene ever. You will not change my mind on that. I love the chase scene in this movie, and the song playing. It's just great. But yeah. Raising Arizona, that's my number 33. Okay, coming in at number 32, we have my favorite revenge movie, and that is The Crow. The Crow is like one of the most badass movies ever made from the 90s. The cinematography is amazing in this film, like really dark looking. The soundtrack, one of the best 90s soundtracks ever. Like, you got Stone Temple Pilots, The Cure, Nine Inch Nails. You got a shitload of a Helmet. You got a lot of great bands on that soundtrack. And, of course, I should mention Brandon Lee. You know, sadly passed away during the filming of this movie before it was even finished. But he's great in the movie, though. He really is. And you also got Ernie Hudson as well, and who's the villain? Who plays the villain? Michael Wincott, yeah. Even Tony Todd is in this movie as well. But yeah, I love The Crow, and And it's surprisingly really funny, actually. This movie has some real it has a really weird sense of humor in the film, but I love it though. It's really funny. But yeah, awesome movie. The Crow. That's my number 32. Okay, my number 31 is my favorite Pixar movie and my favorite animated film. And also a little known fact. Um, it's also the very first movie I ever seen in theaters. That is Monsters Inc. Yeah, Monsters Inc. Mostly for nostalgia, but I think most people like it anyway. So yeah, but yeah, it's my favorite Pixar movie. Like I said, John Goodman and Billy Crystal as Sully and Mike, fantastic. And also Steve Buscemi as Randall is great. Yeah, just a great kids movie. Boo is so adorable, and it's great. It has great comedy as well, and the music's really good. And yeah, I love Monsters Inc. I do. It's my favorite animated film, and yeah, it's my number 31, Monsters Inc. All right, coming at number 30, we have a really great John Hughes movie, a great John Hughes comedy, and that is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Hilarious film. Steve Martin and John Candy as Neil Page and Dale. Dale Griffith, I should say. They're hilarious together. John Candy especially, but Steve Martin's really funny too, and just a great road trip movie. It's like maybe the only Thanksgiving movie ever made, but probably not, but it's at least the best one ever made for sure. And yeah, it's just great. I love this movie. It's hilarious. Yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's my number 30. All right, coming in number 29, we have a movie that has one of, if not the best, on 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 screen chemistry from any actors I've ever seen, and that is Sideways. Yeah, Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church, amazing chemistry in this film. Um, yeah, and it's definitely my favorite Alexander Payne film, and and also I should mention Virginia Madsen and Sandra Oh are also great in this movie. It's really funny. There's some dramatic moments as well, and yeah, I actually want to do a Your Cousins Are Critics episode on this someday. But yeah, it's a movie about a subject that I'm not really interested in, just about wine. But it's great though. It's great how they did this movie. How Alexander Payne did this movie. It's very well written, and yeah. Sideways, awesome movie. That is my number 29. Okay, my number 28 is, for a while, this was actually my favorite coming of age movie, but actually, there's another one I like even better, but I won't reveal that one until the next part. But this was my favorite coming of age movie for a while. It's a movie I reviewed for the channel, and yeah, it's great. It's the second best coming of age movie from the last decade, and that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Like, I remember when I first heard of this movie, I had no interest in it, and then I finally decided to watch it, and it blew me away. It's pretty relatable, and yeah, I really enjoy it. It's very emotional and kind of depressing at some moments. But it's also funny too at moments, and Logan Lerman's fantastic, and Emma Watson as well, and even Ezra Miller, the controversial actor that is Ezra Miller, but he's great. I do like his character in the movie though. Great soundtrack as well. Paul Rudd's even in this movie. He's really good. Yeah, Perks of Being a Wallflower, awesome movie. And that is my number 28. Okay, coming at number 27, we have a Oliver Stone movie, but also kind of a Quentin Tarantino movie as well, kind of. He originally wrote it, that is. That is Natural Born Killers. And I know this movie's pretty divisive. There's a lot of people that hate this movie, and I don't understand why, to be honest. I mean, is it just because Oliver Stone fucked over Tarantino's script? If that's why, then whatever. Yes, I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, but I still love this movie, and I love how Oliver Stone made it. Like, it's the editing is amazing, and it's very unique the way he made this movie. Very unique. And of course, Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis as Mickey and Mallory Knox. Fantastic. One of my favorite movie couples, even though, yes, they're serial killers, but still. They're still great characters, and the actors do an amazing job. You also got Robert Downey Jr. and Tommy Lee Jones. I really like Robert Downey Jr.'s character as Wayne Gale. He might be my favorite character in the movie, if I'm going to be honest. And Tommy Lee Jones is great, too. Another really awesome soundtrack as well. And you got, like, Leonard Cohen and Nine Inch Nails and whatnot. But, L7. But yeah, this movie's great. Like, honestly, it's a masterpiece. I love it. And this is the director's cut, too, which barely has any differences, but still, it's still really good. Yeah, Natural Born Killers, awesome movie, and that is my number 27. And the last movie I will be talking about in this part, number 26, is my second favorite Wes Anderson film, and that is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Yeah, I think this is Bill Murray's best performance, if I'm going to be honest. And it's my favorite movie with him. He's amazing in this film as Steve Zissou, who is a character is very interesting. Like, he's kind of an asshole, but also there's times where he is likable too. Like, I don't know, but like he's not. I don't know. It's kind of complicated to explain his character, but he's great. Owen Wilson too might even be his best performance. I think it is. Cate Blanchett as well is great. You also got Willem Dafoe as Klaus. I love him in this movie. He's hilarious. You also got Jeff Goldblum and Angelica Houston, and yeah, and this movie has my favorite soundtrack of any Wes Anderson movie. I love the soundtrack. You got like Devo and of course David Bowie. And there's even a guy in the movie that plays David Bowie songs in Portuguese, which is pretty awesome. He even released a whole album where he just sings David Bowie songs in Portuguese. I want to get that album. It's so good. But yeah, and I love the visuals too. Like there's like some like stop motion, I think, in the movie too, with like some of the fish and like other creatures too. It's pretty cool. But yeah, and the humor's great too. It's a really funny movie. Very underrated Wes Anderson, but if you like Wes Anderson, but you haven't seen like a lot of his earlier stuff, I definitely recommend The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. It's not for everybody. There's some people that don't like it, but I love it. It's so good. There's only one other Wes Anderson film I do like better than it. If you know my channel, you might know what it is. But still, amazing film. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou is my number 26. And, of course, the last movie of this video. So, yeah. It's alright. There's part 3 of my top 100 favorite movies list. And look out for part 4, which will be the final part. That's where I reveal number 25 to 1. So yeah, look out for that. That'll be coming this Saturday. Check it out. So yeah, all right. So in the comments, you know, I guess give me your top 100 favorite movies, if you can. That is, what are some of your favorites that I mentioned? And not just in this part, but the other 2 parts as well, if you've seen those. But yeah. Alright, so please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell. And I'll see you later. All right. Peace.